Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to another video. I was talking to Beatle James last night, James Griffiths, on the Facebook Messenger. We were talking about the Beatles and how the VC, well, I think has an awful lot of Beatles rankings. Obviously I think they're the most popular band, and I suppose quite rightly so, on the VC, and I was thinking, should I do a Beatles ranking myself? And then it just hit me, no, because most Beatles rankings are very, very similar, and I thought I'll have a go at ranking the Beatles singles. So, no time like the present, so I thought I would do this now and get it uploaded before I hit the sack, because I've got night shift again tonight. Great. So, there's 22 singles in all. Four or five of them are actually double A sides. So what I've done with those ones, I've picked my favourite of each double A. Say for example Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane. I picked my favourite song and used that as part of my ranking. Also, this is very, very subjective. These are just a song that I prefer. You know, the ones I like and the ones I don't like quite as much. But in saying that, I do like every single Beatles single. There's not one that I dislike. So whatever's last is last, because something has to be last. But you know, I do have my top 4 or 5 which I put down on a list, and I do have my bottom 4 or 5, and then I jiggled about a bit for the rest of them, and I think this is actually fair enough. I don't take into consideration things like critical acclaim and how important this song was in music at the time and how revolutionary it was, blah blah blah. It's all to do with my personal enjoyment, and so let's get started. I've got all the singles, but I don't have any of the original Beatles UK singles. That's another thing, under the UK singles. So there's no 8 Days a Week or anything like that, or The Long and Winding Road. But I don't have the originals, but I do have them all that were re-released. They were all re-released in 1976. With a couple of extra ones which charted. Yesterday got top 10, and back in the USSR got top 30, possibly top 20, maybe even top 10 as well, I'm not too sure. But those two are not included, so it's just the original ones. No Free as a Bird, no Real Love either. So starting at number 22, and my least favourite, is From Me to You, and all these covers are going to be exactly the same apart from the odd back cover. Yeah, it's a good song, it is, but I think it's a little bit slightly wimpy. But again, this was the one that really blew them up in the UK into a huge force, but it still would be my least favourite, so that's From Me to You at 22. At 21 I would have The Ballad of John and Yoko. I always liked that back cover there. I thought it was really cool. That's the 69. Yeah, this is really just Paul and John. It's a decent song. I don't think it's a brilliant single, to be honest with you. I think this would sound best on the White Album, actually, not even on Abbey Road, the White Album. But yeah, so this would be my number 21. Number 20, this has always been in the bottom 5 for me. I quite like it a little bit more now, and that is Can't Buy Me Love from the Hard Day's Night Philip. And there's the Fab Four again. I always thought Ringo's hair looked really weird there. But in fact I used to doubt whether I used to think that maybe that wasn't Ringo, but it obviously is. Yeah, it's a good song, but and it was huge. It's one of the best selling singles ever. But it never appealed to me as much as some of them. So that's number 20. Number 19 is a bit of a surprise, and again, it's personal, it's subjective, it's just not the way I feel, and that's Help, from the slightly underrated album. I think Help as an album is much better than people let it out to be, and that's another cool cover there. I think that's around the Paperback Writer sessions, the Rain sessions. Possibly, possibly not. Maybe it's from the film. I don't know. But yeah, the only thing about Help is I always thought the lyrics are good, but I thought it was too joyful, and it would have possibly I would have liked them to have tried it to see what it, even as an outtake, as a slower down version. Because even Tina Turner does a slow version of it, and I think it's really, really good. But there you go. Help is my number 19. Number 18 is their debut, Love Me Do. I do like it. It actually got to about 17 or 18 in the charts, but when it was re-released 20 years after, in 1982, it got to number 4. Yep, like it. Very simple song. Should it have been the first single? Yeah, well, I do like P.S. I Love You, the B-side, probably a little bit better, but in saying that, yeah. Love Me Do would be my number 18. Number 17, and we're buying really into Beatlemania here, and that's She Loves You. It's a simple song, but again, it's very critically acclaimed. But as a song, it's good, but it's really no great shakes really. But at the time, I suppose it's excellent. But I do enjoy it. I really do. But it's still in the bottom half for me. Number 16, and this one always goes with She Loves You, and that's I Want to Hold Your Hand, and I think this is slightly better. Yeah, it maybe doesn't have that immediacy as She Loves You, but I think it's an overall better song. And I've heard some really good versions of the Sparks do a very, very laid back, almost jazzy version of it, which is great. I won't mention the Dollar version. Oops, I just mentioned the Dollar version. Petula Clark also does a pretty jazzy version of it as well. I think that's where Sparks got their inspiration from, was the Petula Clark version rather than this one. But yeah, I do like this. Beatlemania was just totally exploded whenever this was out. So that's number 16. Number 15, A Hard Day's Night. Another one in the Beatlemania. Most of these are usually the early singles in the bottom half, but not all. So A Hard Day's Night, yep, enjoy this. Better than Come By Me Love. I like the sort of the dual singing here with John and Paul. But good opener to the soundtrack album. Well, half the soundtrack album, unless you're an American, that's the soundtrack album. So that's A Hard Day's Night at number 15. Now number 14 is a double A side, and I'm picking Yellow Submarine rather than Eleanor Rigby, because I think it's a better single. It's maybe not a better song, but it's a better single. And there we have that cool cover again. Ringo's vocals, I just think this is great. I know it's like a children's song, you know, big deal. It's a children's song, but it's a very, very good children's song. And I believe the majority of that song was written by Paul McCartney, who is probably one of the best children's songs writer ever. Because if you take in things like Mary Had a Little Lamb and even the Frog Chorus, which you can dismiss as fodder, but it must be so difficult to actually write a song for a child to sing along. I think it would probably be harder than to write something a little bit more progressive as such. So number 14 is Yellow Submarine. It's a great song and it deserves its place on Revolver for me. Okay, another double A side, and this is number 13, and I'm picking We Can Work It Out. Again, it's another great song, and it's another great dual vocal with John and Paul. Really enjoy this. I like it a lot more than Day Tripper, actually. I always thought the Day Tripper was a little bit basic. But yeah, We Can Work It Out from around the time of the Rubber Soul sessions. Okay, number 12, and the heavy riff of Ticket to Ride. I prefer this to Help. It just misses out really on the top 10. I do enjoy it. I don't particularly like the B-side, yes it is though. But again, I'm not ranking B-sides, it's just on the A side. My only criticism of this, it could be a tiny little bit too long. Tiny little bit, about 30 seconds chopped off, it might have even been better. Sacrilege, I hear you all saying, but for a single, I think maybe 30 seconds less would have been even better. But Ticket to Ride, good heavy riff, enjoy it very much. Number 11 from '68 is Lady Madonna. This is just Paul McCartney all over. You could call this a Paul McCartney single. I love it. I love the piano, the thumping of the piano. This would sound perfect on the White Album. It's got that similar piano style to Obladi Oblada. The back is a different cover, which is pretty cool. The Mustachios. So that would be my number 11. Okay, we're getting into the top 10, and I've showed this in one of my other videos. For number 10, Please Please Me, love it, great song, so uplifting, totally sing-alongable, if that's a word. Yeah, Please Please Me from their first album. It's a serious highlight. It's my favourite song off the first album. I know a lot of people go with I Saw Her Standing There, but to be honest with you, I prefer Please Please Me. Number 9, if everybody does that, and you just can't help doing it, is All You Need Is Love. Yeah, again, it's sort of verse, chorus, but it is infectious, and I really do enjoy it. From 1967. So, yeah, All You Need Is Love, and with Baby You're a Rich Man. So that's really one of the few songs that didn't have McCartney at all, really, because those are both John Lennon songs, aren't they? Yeah, but that's my number 9. Number 8, I did get fed up with this, but I do actually prefer the album version, and that's Let It Be. But I played this recently again and thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, okay, it's from those sessions where they were at each other's throats, and Paul was trying to get things. Okay, he did sound as if he was being very dominant and bossy and so forth, but I think it was needed, or something was needed at that time. I'm getting into a complete different realm here, because I'm here to talk about the singles, not about the Let It Be sessions. So yeah, Let It Be. Great song, love it. I hated the version that was it Ferry did. I just think it sort of dilutes the original as well. Whenever you get these, it's the same with Perfect Day. It diluted the Lou Reed version. But anyway, that's number 8. Let It Be. Number 7, great rocker from McCartney. Get Back, love it. Again, I love that there picture. Fantastic song. The first time I ever heard this song was not actually the Beatles, it was Rod Stewart. So it was, so I always thought it was a Rod Stewart song. There you go. So anyway, there's my number 7. Number 6 is a double A side, and I'm a big McCartney fan, I admit that. And he is my favourite Beatle, but for this I'm picking the John Lennon Strawberry Fields Forever, because I'm not a keen Penny Lane fan. Yeah, this is very psychedelic, it's very trippy, the sound of this is wonderful. If you were actually to break it down as a song, is it a great song? I don't know, maybe structurally it's not a great song, I don't know, but the overall sound of this is fantastic and I love it. So that is my number 6. Number 5 is just a fantastic Beatles single, and I know a lot of the Beatles fans don't like it, but I think it deserves to be there, and that's Hello Goodbye. I'm the Walrus, the B-side. Okay, some say it should have been the A-side, I don't agree. I think Hello Goodbye is the better single. Again, catchy, and I love watching them with their Sgt. Pepper gear on doing this. And also the wee bit at the end, whenever it changes into the almost chanty bit, is great. Number 4, maybe it's overplayed, but I still love it, and that's Hey Jude. It's over 7 minutes long. Should it be shorter? Nah, not really. Because once you start singing, it's like Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop. And it's the same with Hey Jude. Once you start singing, you sing. Yeah, I love it. And I think McCartney maybe plays this too much live. But in saying that, I have never seen McCartney live. I haven't, and I never will. And to be honest with you, I don't think I'd want to now. Because his voice is not the same. But still, brilliant song. Love it. Number 3 is another double A side, and I'm going with Something, the George Harrison song. One of the top 5 George Harrison songs ever. In fact, so is Here Comes the Sun. So 2 of his best ever songs are on Abbey Road, and I love this. This is a great song, and I think this is the second most covered Beatles song behind Yesterday. So this is my number 3. Okay, my number 2 and number 1 may be slightly surprising, but my number 2 is Paperback Writer. This is McCartney doing Revolver Lennon, as I call it. It's got that metallic-y type guitar, and I would have loved that to be on Revolver or Rain, but preferably Paperback Writer, so that maybe the other Harrison one I want to tell you could have been dropped. But if people say to me, what's the difference between Revolver and Rubber Soul, I always say, okay, listen to Paperback Writer and listen to Day Tripper, and that tells you the difference. McCartney's efforts with Revolver were immense, as were John's, but John's were all very guitar based. McCartney was all over the place and just showed what a musical genius he is. But I will say that he was missing one really good guitar song, and it was released as a single. So Paperback Writer is my number 2. And my favourite Beatles single is I Feel Fine. Surprised? Yeah, maybe, but there's something about this with the feedback to start with. This is, I think, punk before it actually happened. I always would have loved the Ramones to have done a cover of this. I really would have, because I think it would have really suited them. There's something about this song that just makes me feel so good, makes me want to sing, and it's not a lally 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 happy song. It's just such a really strong song. And then you flip over the other side and you have She's a Woman, which is completely different but nearly every bit as good. So that is my number 1 Beatles single, and that was bang in the middle of Beatlemania again. So there you go. That's my Beatles ranking of their singles. As I say, it's all subjective. It's all how they make me feel. And I hope you enjoyed that, and I shall talk again soon. So all the best now. Bye bye.